going on, guys? As you can see, it's kind of like a rainy day here in North Florida, but I'm not gonna let that stop me. So last video, just a quick recap, we pressure washed it inside and out, just got it cleaned up and ready to get started on. This video, we're gonna be tackling the core support. As you can see, the core support was removed. There was some sort of front end damage, and they removed the core support to replace it. These core supports are spot welded on, so to remove them you have to drill out all the spot welds. Originally I was planning on pulling the core support off the red car, but it turns out my buddy who sold me this car actually had a core support ready to go on. I'm just gonna go pick that up from him. It's gonna be a lot less work in the long run. It'll save me some space because then I don't have to take apart the red car as much. I can just get started on this one. By the end of this video, I plan on having this core support welded on and maybe start tackling some other metal work under the hood. So yeah, let's go get this core support and get started on this thing. Alright, so we just got back to the house. I went and picked up the core support. For the most part, it's in fairly good shape. A couple tabs do need to be bent back into place, but there's no rust, and it doesn't look like it was severely bent anywhere. Whoever cut out the core support did a pretty good job. So I'm going to bring this core support over to the carport and start working on filling in these holes. So in order to actually get this core support on the car, I'm gonna have to do what's called spot welding. I'm gonna be filling in all the holes with the MIG welder and then going in with the spot welder to actually spot weld the core support onto the car. So this is the spot welder I'm gonna be using. It's a Chicago Electric 240 volt. There's better units out there for sure, but I've used these in the past and it gets the job done. So these things don't work like a traditional welder. The way it works is you actually clamp two pieces of sheet metal in between the electrodes, and you close it and turn it on, and the arc superheats the metal and fuses it together. Essentially you just open up those jaws, get the two pieces of metal between it, and then hit the trigger for a specific amount of time, usually 4 to 5 seconds. So in order to use the spot welder to weld the core support on, I actually need two flat surfaces. That means those holes that were drilled out to remove the core support, they need to get filled in, and that's where this MIG welder comes into play. I'm going to be filling these holes with my Hobart Handler 140 to use as a standard 115 outlet. It's a wire-fed MIG welder. Pretty basic stuff. It's a decent unit. I got my workspace set up here. I got the core support clamped down. Right now I'm making do with what I got, which in this case is a garbage can and a stop sign, but it'll get the job done. So I've got my core support locked down. I'm going to start patching in those holes. I'm going to be using a piece of copper as a heat sink, and that'll just kind of make it a little bit easier for me to fill in the hole. I'm going to go ahead and start prepping the metal and getting it ready to weld. I'm going to go in with this round file just to clean the rust out of the inside of these holes. I'm going to hit the underside now with this file just to knock the burrs out of the way. Now that I got my metal prepped, I'm going to go ahead and start filling these holes in. So I'm going to be using this piece of copper as a heat sink. Basically it's going to go right behind the hole, and it's going to kind of act as a backing for when I'm filling this in. I'm not sure exactly where my settings are going to land, so it's probably going to be trial and error to start off with. I might blow a couple holes out and have to change some dials on the machine to get this thing welding correctly. This is very thin sheet metal. It's very difficult to weld thin sheet metal. It's really easy to blow it out. But we're gonna do what we can. We've got a lot of excess buildup right here. I'm gonna try to back my wire speed off and see how that does. So now it's time for me to get started on the front of the car. Same process as the core support. I just gotta knock the rust off and fill in the holes with the MIG welder. So yeah, I'm gonna jump straight into this. So we got the holes welded up on the front of the car. I took a flap disc to them, got them nice and flat. They're not perfect, but they don't really need to be. All I really need is a couple flat surfaces to get the contacts for the spot weld. I'm going to start mocking up this core support. So we got the core support finished up late last night. I just need to get some primer over the bare metal to prevent it from rusting. In the next video, we're going to be continuing on with the metal work under the hood, removing the battery tray, removing some studs, and cleaning up a couple bent areas. We're also going to be stripping out everything out of the engine bay and getting ready to start prepping for paint. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.